Almost every fire officer promotional process in the country asks some version of this question. Why do you want to be a lieutenant? And it's the one candidates prepare for the least, because it feels like the easy one. It feels like the softball before the real questions start. It isn't. It's usually the first thing scored. It sets the panel's anchor for everything that follows. And I have watched capable people lose points on it in the first 90 seconds of a board and never fully recover. So let's talk about what's actually being asked, because it is not the question you think it is. Let's start with section 1, the misread. Here's what most candidates hear when that question comes. Tell us why you want this job. So they answer it honestly. They say, I've been on the job 12 years. I feel like I'm ready for the next step. I want to challenge myself. I want to give back. I've had some great officers, and I want to be that for somebody else. Every word of that is true. It's sincere. It's the actual reason, and it scores a 2. Not because it's wrong, because it answered a question about the candidate's wants, and the panel was asking a question about the organization's needs. That's the whole thing. That's the video. Everything else is mechanics. Now let's look at what the panel is actually asking. Reframe it. When a panel asks, why do you want to be a lieutenant? What they are actually asking is, why should we make you one? Those are completely different questions. The first one is about desire. Desire is not evidence. Every person sitting in that hallway waiting their turn wants it. Wanting it is the price of admission. It does not differentiate you from anyone. The second one is about value. What does this organization get when it puts a bugle on your collar? What changes on that crew, on that shift, in that station that wasn't happening before? And here's the part that stings a little. The panel is not trying to find out whether you'd enjoy the job. They're trying to find out whether you understand it. Because a candidate who talks entirely about what the promotion does for them has just told the panel, without meaning to, that they're thinking about this as something they receive. And the job is not something you receive. It's something you take responsibility for. Now let's look at the 3 failure modes. Before I give you the structure, let me name the 3 versions of this answer I have heard most often. See if you recognize yourself. 1, the resume recital. I've got 12 years on. I'm a paramedic. I've been acting officer for 3 years. I've got my fire officer 1 and 2. The panel already has your file. Listing it back to them isn't an answer. It's an inventory. And an inventory tells them what you've accumulated, not what you do. 2, the sentimental answer. I had a great captain early on who really shaped me, and I want to be that guy for the new people. That's genuinely lovely. It might even be the truest thing you'd say all day. But it's a story about somebody else, and it ends with an aspiration instead of a capability. A panel can't score an aspiration. 3, the entitlement answer. This one's the most dangerous because candidates don't hear themselves doing it. I've been here a long time. I've put in my time. I think it's my turn. Time served is not a qualification. And when a panel hears, it's my turn, what gets written on the sheet is some version of expects the promotion rather than earns it. That's a hard hole to climb out of. So here's what actually works. 3 parts, in this order, every time. Let's break down the winning formula. Part 1, the thesis. 1 sentence, not a wind-up. Not, well, that's a great question. 1 sentence that names what kind of officer you intend to be. I want to be a lieutenant because I think the biggest gap on our line right now is the transition from firefighter to competent crew member. And that's the work I'm best at. That's a thesis. It's specific. It's about the organization, and it's arguable. Part 2, the evidence. 2 examples, concrete. This is where most of your time goes. Not what you would do, what you have done already. without the rank. Because here's a thing I'd tell any candidate. The strongest possible argument for promoting you is that you're already doing the job. Specifically, with a situation, an action, and a result. Last year, we had a probationary firefighter struggling with hose deployment. I built him a drill sequence. We ran it every shift for 6 weeks. And by his phase evaluation, he was the fastest on the crew. That is not a story about you wanting the job. That is proof you already do it. Now for the final piece of the structure, the commitment, part 3. The forward commitment. 1 or 2 sentences. Close the loop. What does the organization get in the first 6 months? In my first 6 months, I'd want every member of my crew to have a documented development plan, because right now that's happening informally or not at all. Now stop talking. 2 things that separate a 3 from a 4 on this question, and neither one is about content. Let's talk about the mechanics of a winning delivery. First, length. This answer should run about 90 seconds to 2 minutes, not 4. When a candidate goes long on the motivation question, it reads as unprepared. The panel hears someone circling, looking for the ending. Know where you stop. Practice the last sentence more than the first one. Second, land the plane. Cold answers die by drifting. Do not trail off into, so, yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. End on the commitment. Then be quiet and let it sit. Silence after a strong close reads as confidence. Filling it reads as doubt. And one more. Do not badmouth your current leadership. Ever. Not implied, not hinted. I want to fix the problems we've got. Sounds like initiative in your head. And sounds like a liability from the chair. Now, we come to the honest part. Here's the thing I want you to actually take from this. You cannot fake this answer. If your reason for wanting the job is that you're tired of taking orders, or you want the pay bump, or you feel passed over, the structure won't save you. A trained panel will find it. So do the harder work first. Before you write a word of this answer, sit down and figure out honestly what you'd actually do with the position, not what you'd get, what you do. Do that in your kitchen first. If you can answer that, the 90 seconds writes itself. And if you can't, that's worth knowing now in your kitchen and not in front of 3 chief officers with a clipboard. I'll see you on the next one. But before we go, let's recap. Reframe your why as why us. Lead with evidence of work already done and land the plane with total confidence. If you want to see where you stand across all 8 dimensions an assessment center actually scores, there's a free calibration in the description. It'll show you your shape and what boards weight heaviest. I'll see you on the next one.